So hello everybody, this is American Seagull Predictions, and I'm back with a new video. Today this is my Trump versus Biden prediction. Now, Biden has been going down in the in his approval rating. He might even be doing worse than Trump overall. I mean, Biden's not a good spot, but I'm not going to take it based off the polls. Yes, I mean, if you talked to me like 7 months ago, I would have said Biden would probably won against Trump again. Maybe Trump could do a little bit better, but now I think Trump probably has the edge and he could win. I mean, if Democrats can just run on January 6th, that is just sad. I mean, they should just talk about their own accomplishments because Trump's going to destroy them if all they can say is he's an insurrectionist. I think Biden will win Nebraska second, as it's just too woke. Maybe DeSantis could, but even I don't know. All these states safe. I'm going to put in safe Missouri. These states have just been solid for quite a while. Alaska, I think, will be safe. I mean, I think Alaska is going far to the left in 2020 was more of a fluke. I mean, it might have been like a New Hampshire. I think it is somewhat of an anti-incumbent, like the person that's not in power for president. Or the incumbent, it just doesn't really like incumbents, I think, kind of like New Hampshire. That might be wrong, but I think that's kind of what it looks like. Texas, I'm going to put likely. I mean, the state is... I mean, that Latino surge might help him out. I do think Trump... we'd see continuous bleeding up in, like, Colin and Denton. Trump would probably flip back Tarrant, but I don't think he would win Colin. Maybe he could. I think he does have a shot holding on to Colin County, especially with Biden's approval dipping now. But if you told me 8 months ago, I'd say probably Biden would win it. But Trump will probably flip back Tarrant, maybe even Williamson, if he does get well enough. So, yeah, Trump will probably win it by 7 points, probably. A little bit more, probably, based off of right now. Maybe even more. Maybe someone like DeSantis could even get close to 10. I kind of feel like DeSantis is the better choice, as I just feel like he could just... He's not really an insurrectionist. He may be a little Trumpian, but, I mean, Democrats can barely find any dirt on that idiot. I mean, on DeSantis. If they just call him Deaf Santis, then Florida has the lowest COVID rate ever. So, yeah. New Mexico, I'm going to say, is likely, probably like a 6-7 point win. Maybe even lower. I think it's going to be like a 6 point win. Colorado, I think, is going to be solid. It's just too democratic. I mean, Trump could definitely do well, but I mean, the state just is just gone. I mean, it's just like woke Californians are moving there. I mean, you can't save it. Maybe it could get a little closer than expected in the 2020 midterms, but even then, Illinois, I think, will be solid. As of course, Trump will continue to make grounds, and Cook and probably will improve a little bit in DePage, as, I mean, its suburbs didn't really trend a ton to the left. I think Trump will win Ohio by likely. Florida, I think, also by likely. I mean, Florida's been becoming that red state now. I mean, Texas at some point is going to be blue, sadly, but it could last a lot longer, and I think Florida would be the good upgrade to keep it. But Republicans, I still think we need more. North Carolina, I think, will be lean, based off the rhythm scene. Wisconsin, I think, will also be lean. I mean, Democrats are just getting plummeted there. I mean, Wisconsin, if you would have said, like, maybe a year ago, I would have said it would have been won by Biden. Or, no, like, I mean, less than a year, like a couple months, like 6 months ago, I probably would have said Biden could narrowly win it. But it's probably unlikely. Minnesota, I think, will be lean as well. I mean, I think that Minneapolis thing was more of a fluke. I see them going back to Trump. I still think Biden's going to win it. I mean, the state just isn't. I mean, that Minneapolis basically just controls the state, and I still don't think these rural areas aren't really maxed out to the point. I mean, they can max them out even more, but it's getting a little close. But I still think it could be on the grab for Republicans in the near future, but just not now. I think Trump will narrowly win Arizona, flipping it back. He might win without Maricopa. He might win with Maricopa, depending on how far the Phoenix area downtown Phoenix trends, but if the Phoenix suburbs don't really trend like they stay the same, and Trump improves in Phoenix, he could probably win back Maricopa narrowly by like less than a point, maybe a point. But I think at the end of the day, as of right now, Trump would win Arizona. Biden just barely won it by a hair, and people acted like it'd be like a 7-point win for Biden. That never even happened. Virginia, I think, will be likely. I think it'll be a 7-point win. I do think Trump will flip back Lynchburg, maybe even Virginia Beach, but again, it's Virginia. Youngkin winning it, I think, was kind of just a problem. Terry McAuliffe was just a bad candidate. However, it kind of does show that maybe Republicans can gain some of that ground, but they're not winning Virginia. I can guarantee that. Maryland, D.C., I think we all know these states. Delaware, I think Trump could flip back Kent County. There's a lot of Kent counties across the country. Actually, Biden flipped a lot of Kent counties in 2020. That was kind of funny, but even Kent County, Rhode Island. New Hampshire, I think, will be lean based off the day. I think Trump will probably flip back some counties. I don't think he'll flip back all of them. He'll probably flip back like two of the counties that he lost in 2020. Maine, I think, Maine second. Likely, Biden will probably win the rest. I don't really know by what margin. I'm not really good at Maine's congressional districts. Sometimes you just kind of hit it. And New York's safe, of course. Forgot about that one. Okay, I think Trump will narrowly win Pennsylvania. Remember, Biden just won it by a hair. And if the Philly suburbs don't really turn out as good, areas like Chester, Delaware, Montgomery, even Bucks, if they don't really, Republicans just did way better in 2021 election than the 2020. They did a little worse in the western area, but that might just be, maybe some ancestral Democrats might have came back. But even then, I think if Trump does better in Pittsburgh area, a little bit better, and Biden does a little worse in the Philly suburbs, like he isn't able to turn out Democrats to the max, that could be a narrow victory for Trump. I think I'll put Trump over the mark. Biden, I still see winning Georgia. The state's just too far gone. If it's Trump, I think DeSantis could make a narrow run. It's possible. He does have a southern appeal, but I just feel like the suburbs of Atlanta would just put it over the top. It still will be somewhat close, but I think it'll end up going to Biden. Michigan, I think I can see Michigan narrowly going for Trump as well. If he does a good campaign. Kent County doesn't really come in that strong. Oakland's weak, and he continues destroying the Democrats' lead in Wayne County, winning Macomb by 10 double digits this time. He was close of winning double digits in 2020. It's possible that he can win back Virginia, doing way better in the rurals than he did in 2020, which he's not even close to being maxed out in some of these rurals. And yeah, Biden, I still see narrowly winning Nevada. I think it is possible that Trump could win it, but I don't know. This is kind of just my prediction. I don't really know exactly. Trump could probably win it. Biden could. You could even say Trump could win Georgia and Nevada, and Biden could win Pennsylvania and Michigan. But at this point, I think Trump's in pretty good shape. If you asked me who would win in 2024 8 months ago, I would probably would have said Biden. He would probably, but now Biden's approval is not really going down. What we saw in Virginia and New Jersey being way closer. I'm not surprised that Trump could win right now. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. American Seagull Predictions out.